Welcome to the 2019 Industry Logistics Symposium. I'm Louisa and I will today be presenting to you an overview of the single-use straw industry, as well as its processes, production and its future in a world that's demanding more reusable alternatives. The processes and logistics behind the manufacturing of straws are far more complex than expected, as it heavily relies on a well-structured supply chain that's accompanied by highly technical information systems. A strong supply chain is an integral part of any business's success, as it is the focal point of the coordination of business functions across and in all organisations. Most of the supply chain processes of the straw is completed on location, from manufacturing to packaging and distribution. The main supply chain aspects are as follows. 1. Raw materials. The main materials needed are polypropylene, colorants and plasticizers. These products can either be sourced from suppliers or can be created from scratch depending on your business model. When contacting suppliers, it is recommended to first look at associations such as the Plastic Industry Association, which has a specific council of industry experts dedicated to providing and presenting trustworthy supplies of plastic resin, additives and colorants. Most of the manufacturing process is completed with limited human labour, as the production, sorting and wrapping processes are dominated by specifically engineered machinery. The raw materials are combined and is then put through the specialised machinery, which melts, extrudes, shapes, cools and cuts the straws. For sanitary purposes, straws are either individually wrapped or packaged in smaller bundles. This is done generally by specific machinery for efficiency. After being wrapped and then sorted into the bundles, it is then placed in boxes which are labelled and prepared for distribution. The distribution will depend on your organisation's setup and whom your retailers will be. Detailed communication and tracking information systems will be crucial to your distribution channels to ensure the correct quantities are sent to the correct retail locations. Your retail customers will vary, but will mostly be concentrated on the food or supermarket retail industry that provides the product to consumers as an accompanied item with beverages. Due to the short and single-use nature of drinking straws, the end of the cycle is not the consumer, but it is rather the landfill. Technological advances have created a more competitive marketplace and has given companies the opportunity to maximise their understanding of every facet of their supply chain and how to use it to its full potential. The main industry and information systems related to the supply chain here are as follows. Office automation systems will be present throughout, as it aids the management of stock and processing of your business data. The effective management of product flow between the supply chain points will result in delivery performance at more reasonable costs. Communication systems. Communication with the stakeholders such as employees, suppliers, retailers and sales representatives are crucial to success. Having an online information sharing system and a customer service team will ensure that there is minimal miscommunications. Global positioning systems will also be relevant to manage and oversee transportation and distribution. Like communication systems, having a detailed and easy to use ordering system will create easier sales transactions by storing transaction histories. For the management and executive information systems, through the storing and processing of logistics information in an accurate and timely manner from across the supply chain, such as the ordering history and the inventory reports, it can then be shared to all supply chain parties to analyse and then to adopt at any point if any changes are necessary. For the decision support system, by converting information gathered during the supply chain process, will then be able to be presented to the management team for decision making that is critical to establish if there are any issues that need to be addressed anywhere in the supply chain. It is important to understand that the monomers used in producing flexible plastics are largely not biodegradable, but rather just simply breaks up into smaller microfragments. According to 2017 studies, more than 79% of all plastic ends up in either the landfill or our natural environment, with only 9% of these plastics being recycled accurately and properly. As consumers are becoming more aware and more demanding of transparency, coupled with legislative bans of straw use or sales, immense pressure is being placed on manufacturing companies, requiring more supply chain flexibility, in which companies need to constantly reevaluate their product and their process and consider change. A great example of this is McDonald's Australia releasing a statement in which they stated that by 2020 they would have had phased out all their plastic straws and are providing a paper alternative. Despite their uncertain future of the single-use plastic straw, by having a well-managed flexible supply chain coupled with highly analytical information systems, there's plentiful opportunity to remain successful and profitable in this industry, even if it does mean considering changing or entering into the reusable sector.